Talk about the Revive Project in general, Dan.
When Lauren and I got started doing music together, we were traveling, kind of doing the acoustic folk thing for a couple of years in college. And when we got married, we decided we wanted to take some time off and really just kind of dig some roots in to a church family and just kind of feel like we have a home that we could be sent out from. We eventually planted a church with some friends up in Reading and called Reading City Church in 2010. And so from that, a lot of our hearts started to grow for the city. If you didn't know much about Reading, it's, as of the 2010 census, it's the poorest city in the entire country, and that's only 30 minutes from here.
And that's surprising to a lot of us. That's not that far from here in the listening area, and that's quite the thing to rank in as.
Yes, yeah, and I think as that statistic came out, and we started our church started serving the city more and getting involved with organizations that were serving the city. Our hearts just continued to grow for the city. And Lauren and I, we live in Lancaster, but a lot of our church family lives in Reading, and so for a lot of folks, it was easy to kind of jump in and dig into the different projects and the different organizations that were up there. But Lauren and I were kind of feeling like, we live down here. In what way can we use our gifts to serve God, to serve the city, to give back, to do something different? And at the same time, we were also thinking about picking the music stuff back up again and doing another album, but just hadn't quite put all the pieces together. And at that time, we started really digging into Matthew 5 and being a city on the hill, a light of the world. And so from digging into that, we just kind of thought, well, we could be a light in a sense of using our music to glorify God and worship Him, but also then take the proceeds from the album and give them back into the city and to organizations that need it. So, because at the time, we were financially all right, and it still are, but we thought, the music can be bigger than us. It needs to be bigger than us. So, and this was the way that we thought we could do that. So that's kind of how the Revive Project was born. We actually we wrote the song Awaken. It was the first song we wrote for the album, and recorded that first as a single, and then released that that was almost a year ago, maybe even more than that. And then just kind of did a Kickstarter project, funded it ourselves, and just had a lot of support from our family and friends here, and then just did the whole album. Now,
Dan, you were telling me, as far as Reading goes, about the tour that you got with the police officer.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, we were fortunate to get a kind of a tour of the city from a police officer who's a Christian, and that he had a really cool perspective from being a Christian in the city. But as he kind of drove us around the streets and just talked to us about experiences he'd had in the city, our hearts just really broke. The stories that he had to tell us, of pointing out different areas where prostitution rings were broken, and cops came in and took hold of them, and different brothels, drug trafficking is such a bad problem up there in different areas and different streets. He took us down and just told us this is the most dangerous street on the city, and it was just kind of like, it was very bizarre to be, this is where our church is, and this is where 30 minutes from our house, and the statistics and the stories, it just became very real to us. And so as he told us some more stories, we just asked him, why is it that people are here that are kind of in this rut? Why is the city in this rut? And he said, from his own experience in talking one-on-one with the city, it's that they have no hope. And he said they don't feel like they have any hope to get out of where they're at. And that's just a hard thing to hear, when we present the gospel of hope, and we try and be a church in a city to do things to help people out of the ruts that they're in, and they just they feel hopeless. How do you bring hope? And I think that's the new question on our hearts, is how can we bring hope? How can we bring hope and light into a dark place? And so more than anything, I think what the city needs obviously is prayer, for sure. And if anybody out there listening could pray for Reading, please do, and the residents of the city. But at the same time, if you feel a call to step outside of your own small community, local community, and see Reading as an opportunity to serve and give back, there's a ton of organizations you can do that through. So get on the website if you can, and check out and take initiative and do that.